Let me see if I can fix this a little bit. We chilling right here. We here. Welcome back to NOCAPPP, man. Oh, my bad. Let me be more high energy. What's good, folk? How y'all living? It's Tuesday. I ain't gonna lie, boy. Tuesday feel real Monday-ish and Thursday-ish at the same time. Like the week should be over after this. But like it just started. Like, ugh. It's a Tuesday for you. But another day, another conversation. What's going on, family? I'm starting to actually get more comfortable saying a lot of this ish, even though real uncomfortable trying to say this in person. And crazy enough for me, I'm more comfortable saying the uncomfortable ish to your face than I am saying it to myself in the room. But podcast shit, right? I'm gonna talk about education today, just because, conversation yesterday, telling the truth. You got to be a certain level of intelligent in order to have a lot of conversations. And intelligence isn't always something you're born with. A lot of times it's something you taught. You taught how to think, taught how to learn, taught how to process, comprehension skills like that. Pick it up at home and at school. But the folk ain't picking it up nowhere. We got a bunch of dumbasses outside. And folks complain about it, but don't nobody really think about how we got here, how to fix it, what the actual problem is. It's just, man, I'm pessimistic. I'm tired of what's going on outside. I'm uncomfortable. I go in the house. I chill. I'm with my people. I keep to myself. I ain't saving nobody. And I'll tell you why, or try to explain it a little better. Today, I'm actually going to actively use the board instead of just putting it at the end, because I wanted to connect the board with what's going on today. And be truthful, I'll probably start with it, because when you hear these numbers, it makes a whole lot more sense why when you go outside, it's like, yeah, I don't really want to be outside no more, because it's not really about a moral issue. It's more so the intelligence gap is the biggest problem, where, like I was saying yesterday, one of the most uncomfortable feelings you have, or I've had, is when I'm talking to somebody and I realize that they're not as smart as they need to be to try to have this conversation that I'm trying to have. And I'm just like, yeah, let me just get away from you because you stupid. It turns out that it's not their fault. Yes, you stupid, but it's because somebody failed you along the lines, right? But I'm going to get to it. I'm going to start with the number at the bottom, right? I'm not sure if folks can see it. Number at the bottom, 400,000. And I had to box that number in because that number is the most important number on the entire board. 400,000. That number should be like at the front of mind for everybody, because it's going to impact everything you do, everywhere you go, especially in the U.S. 400,000, that number represents, I put it in real small print so folk can't read it. That's the number of unqualified teachers and just empty positions in schools across the U.S. So there are 400,000 positions where there's just either no teacher there, or whoever's in that position isn't even qualified to be a teacher. It's a big ass number. I probably should looked it up how many teachers there actually are in the U.S., but 400,000, where it's classrooms, a kid's looking at the teacher and they looking right back at them, or they staring at their phone because there's nobody even in the room with them. There's nobody to teach the kids. And when you combine that with parenting, which is going to be a conversation later, I don't really want to have that conversation right now just because you already know when you start hitting people in their feelings and they feel like they're being attacked, not going to process the information. So you got to like ease yourself into it where it's just like, yeah, we need to improve teaching, but while we're improving teaching, let's try to, you know, nah, fuck all that. This is no cap. I'm going to just say it. It's crazy out here for real because 400,000 just, I can't even imagine classrooms with 20, 30 kids in there and there's nobody to teach them. They don't understand what they're supposed to be learning. And this is through all grade levels. So from kindergarten all the way up to you're supposed to graduate. There's just nobody there. Super red flag. Because parents already was starting to falter beforehand with the single parent households. And when you have one parent in the household, there's no way that they can be able to serve their role, serve the other role of whatever side is missing, be able to provide, protect, nurture, and teach all at the same time. It's impossible. That's why it takes two people to raise a child properly. You can try to do this by yourself, but it'd be selfish, and your child is most likely going to be the one that suffers from it. So get your shit together. But back to the board, right? What the overall board was U.S. education proficiency rates. My apologies. Let me slow down. U.S. education proficiency rates. Got it? Cool. And they measure these things at 3 different rates: at 4th grade, 8th grade, 12th grade. And hold up, let me grab my phone real quick, just so anybody that wants to look this up themselves, you'll be able to look it up yourself. So the website I used was NAEP. So the nation's report card.gov. Simple. NAEP proficiency. They go over all the different subjects that students are expected to learn, and they track this information. And because it's still 2025, all this information is from 2024. So until this year ends, we won't have the updated information. But again, you can just go to nationsreportcard.gov. It's tested by the NAEP. Let me see. Looked it up earlier. It's the National Assessment of Educational Progress. So they've been tracking this, I want to say since like 1991. Just the proficiency rates of all these different subjects, the different age groups, and any kind of factors that impact it. And of course, one of the huge underlying issues is COVID. But even before COVID, it was only just a slow increase. And the problem that they keep bringing up is parental input. So your parents just sending kids to school, and it's the teacher's job to figure it the fuck out from there. Right. So, right. First number right here, I just did math because there are like 7 different subjects that you had to be tested for when you get to like 12th grade. But I'm picking the very basic ones, like the ones that are going to impact your everyday life. Thought about science, but was like, folks don't cook, they DoorDash. Folks don't actively know how to use technology. They just use certain technology. And History, who gives a fuck about history? For one, it's not the real history in the books anyway. Another conversation. And for two, constantly changing the history and taking stuff out and putting stuff in and rewriting it. You're learning different history from different places and not just the flat out story down the line. So you can't really test proficiency if you aren't even learning what's real or not. So, but back to it. I picked the two biggest ones when you live in the US. You gotta be able to speak English. You gotta be able to do math. Not only just speak English, you gotta understand how to read English, because reading and comprehension is the basis of all of it. But with math, right? In fourth grade, the number is 64%. And probably thinking, yeah, that's high, but I did the opposite. I put the amount of people who failed the test. So 64% of fourth graders were below proficient in math. Yeah. I didn't want to put the little numbers on there because it wouldn't hit it. It wouldn't hit as hard as it need to. Eighth grade, 74% of eighth graders are not proficient in math. So 3/4 of eighth graders don't know shit on shit about math. Then you get to 12th grade, right? And up. So 78% of graduating seniors are not good at math. And you know, after high school, folks don't like to tell you this, but you're grown after high school. Whether you go to college or not, college kind of extends your childhood a little bit, maybe 2 more years, but once you graduate high school, nobody gives a fuck. You responsible for your actions. Whatever decisions you make are on you. So you got 78% of young adults who don't know how to do math. And they're getting jobs as cashiers, as waiters, in restaurants, and places where they need to be able to use math. But the second line is English. And with the English test, it's reading based, because you have to be able to read, process, and understand in order to communicate. That's the basis of communications. 69% of fourth graders are not proficient in reading, so they can't even read at a fourth grade level. 70% of eighth graders cannot read at an eighth grade level. 65% of seniors, graduating seniors from high school, are not proficient at reading the English language. And that one was, I'm happy I included that one, because folks try to say that the kids determine the new slang, but at some point there was a line drawn where slang used to be, we understand this so well that I'm going to take it, I'm going to correlate it to something else, I'm going to draw a line, and we're going to be able to communicate based on the parallels between the two. Now is these folk don't understand what they saying or what they reading, so they just shortening everything. There's a new fucking word, phrase every day, and it's not because folk being cool, it's because no, they stupid. I seen somebody spell friend the other day, F-R-E-N, and I pronounced it like it's spelled. Friend, or NFS, new friends. It's not because folk being cool, it's because they stupid and don't know how to spell friend. There's always a new saying. Some of them are to shorten up a long phrase, but a lot of them are words that I cannot not even spell. I don't even know how to pronounce the word. So even when I try to spell it, I spell it wrong. Had a lady text me. She said, I do not indulge in foolishness. She spelled it ENDULGDE. Lady was 30. Nigga. I don't know about y'all, but again, once I see that you aren't as intelligent as I expected you to be, it's not your fault, but I lose respect for you. If you have a good story on why, like you had to drop out of the older generation, I had to drop out of school to start my family. We went to war. Like, valid excuse on why not, cool. But once the generation started forcing everybody to get an education and you still only can get but yay high, nah, bruh. That ain't gonna cut it. And folks will entertain you, but they won't respect you because intelligence is respected more than everything. A saying that I used to work with kids. I used to tell them all the time, it's so much easier to be smart than it is to be tough. You get a lot more respect for being smart than you do for being tough. Wanna know why? When you're smart, you don't have to prove that you're smart one time. You can make one intelligent decision and you can ride that for the rest of your life. When you tough, you got to constantly prove you tough. Somebody wants to test and see just how tough you are. Folk can't fathom intelligence. They wouldn't understand how to process it, so they're not going to test you. Nobody has met Steve Jobs to understand just how intelligent Steve Jobs was. He could have just been somebody that smoked a lot of weed, ate a lot of pizza, and had one good idea. And everything was just connected from that idea. Dana White, like all the richest folk or the most intelligent folk. Bill Gates, we hear Bill Gates talk all the time. Bill Gates doesn't sound very intelligent when he gets outside of Microsoft and he starts talking about other factors. You just look at him like, what is you talking about? You only got to prove that you're intelligent once. But back to it, right? The bottom line was the line I wanted to use to transition into the actual conversation on education and impact. Won't let folk guess. What do you think the bottom line is? Right? What do you think that bottom topic could be? What do you think those numbers represent? I'm gonna let it sit there for a minute just because I'd like you to ponder it. Whether you're watching it live, whether you watch this afterwards, for real, really try to process. All right, so math numbers don't look good. The English numbers look terrible. What could the topic be where the numbers look good, respectable? You got to comment it. Should I release it? I'm gonna give it a minute. Just really, what could that be? And what I was looking for was abbreviation. Well, folks abbreviate everything. An abbreviation, over abbreviation, especially during like regular conversations, it should be a red flag to you. But that bottom line, that bottom topic, those bottom numbers represent social media usage. So instead of going by grades, these things were tracked by age. So instead of fourth grade, 12-year-olds and under, only 25% of 12-year-olds and under do not use some form of social media. So TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, X, Facebook, MySpace, whatever one you want to use. Only 25% of 12-year-olds and under don't use it. So that means 75% of them use it. There are more 12-year-olds using social media than there are 12-year-olds who can do math or read English combined. You got twice the amount of social media usage amongst 12-year-olds and under than proficient at reading. How are they on the app if they can't read? The next number is 13 to 17. So from 13-year-olds to 17-year-olds, only 3% don't use social media in some form. And the last one is 18%. 18-year-olds and up. So from 18, I want to say it was like 29. That number is 16%. So only 16% of 18 to 29-year-olds don't use social media. And for the folks that, 29 is old, it's not really school. That number is the folks that are skewing the number and making it a lot smaller than it could be, because those folk have grown into themselves and went, nah, I don't need this. But 18 and up, 84% of 18-year-olds and up are on social media. So when you compare that third line, social media usage compared to English proficiency and math proficiency, now you get to look at, all right, so what are these kids spending all their time doing? Because remember, the parents aren't teaching shit. Parents are the worst educators these days. Parents are pushing it all off on teachers. And remember that 400,000 right there, the parents are pushing it off on teachers that aren't there. So in their free time, you know what the kids are doing? I'm on this YouTube bad. I'm on that TikTok crack. And I dropped a video about social media. I'm gonna have to do another one just because copyright, had to take it down. But social media is terrible. Terrible. And when you having these conversations, right? I like to have these conversations, especially on this platform, to be able to express my opinion and show that my opinion is fact-based. I like to look these things up. I'm researching, Googling, reading books constantly, reading articles constantly, just so I can learn and constantly be on my P's and Q's. The biggest misnomer that folks tell you, and these people, the people who say this, are the biggest issue to fixing these problems. Well, how do you know all this? What you go to school for? The only part of school that's mandatory is kindergarten, 12th grade, where they're supposed to teach you the basics of how to do math and how to read. Because once you learn how to read and do math, you learned how to learn, and you can take those foundational concepts and place them however you want, manipulate them however you want. Once you get past high school, for anybody that goes to college, you know that college ain't nothing but you teaching yourself. Anybody who's ever been to college, them folk prescribe you with a list of books, give you a list of shit to buy, and then the whole time you ain't doing nothing but writing papers you'll never remember. You getting on boards and you typing up responses on these damn message boards, and you replying to 3 to 5 of your classmates, and you putting the most generic replies and comments on whatever they posted. Don't remember none of that shit either. And you going through chapters and you skimming information basically to be able to digest it, regurgitate it, and then never remember it again. That's a lot of college. And then the parts of college you remember are the parts that are directly connected to whatever career field you want to get in. And even then, you're teaching yourself. because in K through 12, they teach you how to learn. Once they've taught you how to learn in college, now you expected to take those tools and teach yourself. So for the folk that tell you, what's your degree in? You have the same freedom to buy these books that anybody else does. You have the same amount of access to the information as anybody else does. If you're interested in it, you're going to chase it, and then you're going to apply it. And I like to do that all the time because information is free. You can get it wherever if you're looking for it, you can find it, especially in the social media age and especially in the internet age. So for the folk telling you you're not qualified, fuck them. Honestly, because a doctor is somebody that's practicing medicine. A lawyer is somebody who's practicing law. A scientist is somebody that's coming up with an opinion and testing whether that opinion is true or not. Everybody can be a scientist. Anybody can be their own lawyer. Doctor, yes and no. At each, you can get to a certain point where you might not be able to do some things, but in certain cases, there are folks who are self-taught doctors. I remember reading about a man in Africa that completed like 3 successful open heart surgeries before they made him stop practicing. Like took him to jail or something. Like, man, that nigga's undefeated. He 3 for 3. Y'all need to be asking him to come get a job. But that's neither here nor there, man. Back to the topic at hand. So you have the freedom to teach yourself. As long as you got the drive to do it, it's easy. But these same folks who tell you that you need to go about life a certain way aren't interested in these numbers. And those are also coincidentally the same people who complain about what condition outside is in. I mean, look at the numbers, bro. And the numbers only get that way when you have an absence of teachers or an absence of educators. And that can come down from federal government and the adjustments being made and decisions being made from the Department of Education. Because as the Department of Education slashes budgets and adjusts expectations and guidelines for states and for educational purposes, it affects that. 2, distractions. There's so many distractions now. Like, you got to focus to learn something. If you stare for 5 seconds and then you over here, the next 5 seconds, and then you over here, you trying to experience everything and you're not learning nothing or experiencing anything. You just a junkie all over the place, overheating. Brain can't even process it. And 3rd, trash ass parents. Tell you everything is going to go back to families. Like, the family is everything. It's the most important thing in the world. That foundation of passing down knowledge, passing down processes, passing down structure, being able to process the information and use it for yourself, and then taking that information and creating a better environment for what come after you. Family's at the center of everything. And it's legit parents who don't give a fuck. I feel sad for I feel real bad for a lot of kids because, man, you gonna wait until, like, that's a crazy situation that hits majority of adults. Is when we growing up as kids, we always assume adults are different and that they're separate from us just because they operate differently. You grow up and realize, man, adults are dumb as fuck. A lot of adults are lazy, stupid, selfish, and really just in the way. So you got a generation of dumbasses doing everything in their power to make sure the next generation is even dumber than they are. And I hate to keep using these adjectives, but they're the one they have to be used. You don't have elementary knowledge. There's no other way I can go about talking to you or talking about you. You are not intelligent. You do not know how to learn. You do not process simple concepts. You're stupid. Because it's not because you have a mental disability. You're not mentally retarded. And yes, I use that word. I'm not being politically correct. That is the term that was appropriate. These kids aren't mentally retarded. They're mentally stunted. And when I was in school, bullying was a thing. Calling somebody stupid was appropriate because you're stupid. But again, it's a sympathetic situation. Opportunity to look at it and go, man, here's the problem. But DC, how do you fix it? Easy. Adult education. It starts at home. You got a lot of kids that are in homes with dumbass parents. Kids don't know how to learn because their parents don't know how to learn. They gonna mimic what you do. So if you on social media all day, guess what they gonna do? How are you ever gonna understand pre-cal if you don't have a teacher and then you go home and you got a mom that all day, all she do is take pictures for Instagram and ask niggas for cash apps. And she's not even that good at math. She knows numbers when she's requesting numbers, but bills are still due. So she doesn't even know how to budget. If you can add and subtract, you can budget. She don't know how to do both at the same time. So your mama's stupid. It's not your fault. You got men who cannot read. That's the reason why folks say nigga or use cuss words all the time. Cursing used to be considered a sign of less intelligent communication. It didn't have to be the case. You just wanted to put emphasis on whatever idea you were expressing. Now, that's not it. Folk really curse because they are not intelligent. I don't have the vocabulary to use another word in place of this, so I'm going to use what I know. If you ask these men to read a book, we're going to get to the dating conversation. First date, ask that man to read 2 pages of whatever book. And if you use his finger, you know what's up. If he can't get it out, you know what's up. Folks, stupid. So adult education it should be mandatory. Hey, every few years, come in here and take this test. Basic information. It doesn't even have to be the shit that they teach in school because a lot of that we don't use. We not using pre-cal. AX plus BY equals CZ. Do that. We don't use that every day. A lot of people don't use it every day. But understanding how to put a sentence together and understanding the process of long division, how to go about doing it, or how to go about multiplying this large number and this large number, you should know how to do it. Because I got a lot of crazy ideas, right? Unless you are of a certain mental aptitude, you shouldn't be allowed to take care of kids without some kind of supervision. You have to be a baseline of intelligence to take care of children. Otherwise, you're a risk to those children if you aren't of a certain mental aptitude. If you don't have the capability to do X, Y, and Z, then somebody should be in charge of whatever situation you got going on. And then once you do that with the parents, pass that shit down to the kids. No child left behind. Fuck that. Leave his 19-year-old ass in 4th grade, but sit him over there. You can't be over there with the 9-year-olds. You 19, you gonna sit your ass over here and you gonna do this 9 times 9, 9 times 8, 9 times 7 multiplication table until you get it right, Jerome. I'm fucking playing with you. Leave these kids behind. College will be empty for a little bit. It'll be nothing but 48-year-old freshmen that wanted to go back, and grad school will be jumping, but them incoming freshman numbers are going to dwindle, but it's necessary. I think I saw something that said the U.S. is like 20th or worse when it comes to overall intelligence. Man, that's folk can't even name 20 countries. Make no damn sense. But again, our issue, gotta fix it. Otherwise, hate to make it sound this simple, but you got to do the hard work to fix this shit, or everybody's gonna die. It's really that simple. It might be a long process of getting there, but that's really what it is. If you're not evolving, you're dying. If we don't evolve as a species, we're gonna die. And it's like that with a lot of issues. Global warming. If we don't change shit now, we're going to die. We are devolving right now. Kids outside are like wild animals. Humans are animals. And that's the problem. The folk who think that we're bigger than animals are the folk who are saying, man, everything's all right. So you got the folk who think that they gods on one side, and a large population of wild animals that's growing with every grade being passed, every child being born, every teacher that quits. So that elitist mindset of better than is the driving force behind a lot of people not being able to have simple skills. Because Lord knows, if you can't do math, you can't read. You seen these folk out here with shiesty masks on. A ski mask was 20 years ago. A ski mask was the very definition of criminal. You get seen with one, guess what? You are now public enemy number one. But common sense is a skill that's taught alongside this other shit. These little niggas is wearing hoodies, jeans, basketball shorts, 2 pairs of socks, hot ass Jordans, shiesty mask in the middle of the summer. That should have been a red flag that intelligence is at an all-time low if I've ever seen one. You got 22-year-old girls with 5 kids talking about who's going to come take care of me. NFS. SB. SC. OF. CF on IG. All these fucking abbreviations. And you got somebody with a flat head having a bunch of kids and can't teach them shit. My apologies for all the curse words, but you need it for emphasis. Bro, this is not a game, bro. Folk outside stupid. Can't help it, just stupid. Anytime they walk outside, The worst part is they got stupid parents. And for the longest, folk have been going, that ain't none of my business. That ain't my problem. Yeah, it is, because you got to go outside with them. You're a social creature. You're a human being. You're an animal. You're going to have to socialize with these people. I can break it down real simple. You got to eat. You're not growing all your food. Go to a restaurant. Who you think is going to be taking your order? Who you think going to be cooking your food? I don't go out to eat. All right, bet you DoorDash. Who you think is cooking your food? Who you think is driving to pick your shit up? Who you think come to pick up your trash? Common sense ain't so common, man. This is some crazy shit to look at because I made the numbers look real high, but they not high with positivity. They high as in like high alert, like emergency help. Shit. Somebody gonna have to fix this, man. It's not just gonna be one person. Hell, not even 400,000 people. You can fill all 400,000 positions, but you still need the parents. Both parents. And for every child. You probably gonna need, if the number is 400,000 vacancies, man. For every one vacancy, you probably gonna need 40 to 60 adults helping behind the scenes. Because if there's a classroom of 20 to 30 kids, you're gonna need 2 parents to be assisting each child besides the teacher. So that's probably like a minimum of 16 million people just for that right there. Not including the ones that are currently filled. It ain't just gonna be one person, bro. Like, it's gonna be me and you, your kids, and they teachers too. Everybody gonna have to fix this shit. Cause if I pay for a $10 meal with a 20 and this nigga give me $7 again, I promise I'm gonna lose it. See y'all niggas tomorrow.
Yeah.